Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to season four. Yes, we are here in person. You can see me. I can see you in my mind's eye.
Wait. Hey, hello. Hi. Um, yeah, I know you guys think that you're about to do your season four intro thing here, but I'm about to pirate this episode of Magical Aspirations, where we celebrate magic and people's authenticity and so many fun things. I'm Michelle, the Oracle, episode 20, just for your information. Um, I guess I'm partially responsible for this lovely group of humans that have found each other and trusted their calling and have opened up their box of uncomfortableness to offer a place for everyone to feel comfortable and safe to talk about something that could be taboo, but we're all feeling a spiritual call to magic and our own personal magic. So I'm going to introduce, in no particular order, the Miss Adriana
Hello.
and the Miss Reverend Raven and the extra spectacular Anna-Lisa.
Hello, everybody.
And like I said, I'm Michelle, and I'm about to run these people through a little storyline. And I want to bring about their stories of when I met them to right now. So, some fun facts. We are starting season four. This is going to be their episode premiere for their season. Congrats. And this is also episode number 77. So that is a big acknowledgement for you guys. Um, so again, I wanted to start off with thanking you guys for this opportunity. And what we're going to do today is I'm going to take you through a little ping pong. Something funny came up on my Facebook reminder yesterday, which was the flyer for that tarot class that I originally offered through Earth Odyssey. It was a weird, of course, timing, beautiful thing. And it showed that we started in March of 2018. And we met for 4 sessions to learn tarot, to go over the cards, the meanings, all of that. So we are going to rewind to that time because, like I said, it popped up right before we're doing this. And I want to have all you guys rewind your head back to March. Actually, we're going to rewind further. Like I said, more trip. Let's go back to February of 2012.
Oof.
Let's go to February 2012. Why, they ask? I was spinning my flags in at Louis Armstrong, and this lady stopped, and she goes, "Oh my God, here you are!" And long story, she ends up being the lady who lived next door to me that when I first moved here to New Orleans, and she used to watch me spin out all the time, and we had a talk, and it was her driveway that I had my breakdown and started my spiritual journey. And that was February of 2012. So, her, again, timing and divine signs, her coming in to visit and seeing me today or seeing me out there spinning, I want you to rewind to February of 2012. And I'm going to start with you, Adriana, because in a quick little bubble of pops of what you remember of Adriana, February 2012. Can you give me a little synopsis of that person?
Yeah, being the baby of the group, I was preparing for high school graduation. Yes. I was, I had just started looking and planning stuff for my dorm. I was thinking about what am I going to do for college? And well, I knew what I wanted to do for college, but I just was just thinking like, who am I going to do? What am I going to major in? And just all of these questions you have when you're trying to go to the next phase in your life. Um, and I was really just having a lot of fun playing soccer, and I was just like completely free, but then also there was part of me that was super stuck on studying because we had big exams coming up. And I just wanted to make sure I finished the year off well. So yeah, that's where I was.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Did you say which city, state you were in at that
Oh,
time?
yes. So I was in Nashville, Tennessee. Mhm.
Reverend Raven in February of 2012. Where were you?
Okay, so I had just moved to an area in Indianapolis called Broad Ripple, which is kind of like the New Orleans of Indianapolis. It's like the cool, hip area where there's all of these fun shows and cool restaurants and stuff like that. I had moved there because Adam and I had just rekindled our relationship, and we had been back together for 3 months at that point. And we were going through a phase where we were trying to get my dog to cohabitate with his dogs so we could move in together. I was working at
Wow.
society as the behaviorist, and that was a very big challenge for me there. I really opened up a lot of my spiritual side whenever I was working with the animals there, and got introduced to Reiki actually whenever I was in that position, because we had some wonderful volunteers who would come in and share Reiki energy with the pets.
Very cool. Anna-Lisa, February 2012. Where were you?
February of 2012, I was living in what I refer to as my frat house era. I had was living in Metairie with, let's see, at that point it would have been three, I think, other roommates, and we had way too many cats and way too many dogs, and it was kind of just we were all of us pretty much were all working at the same vet together, so there was all of this incestuous work personal life drama that was going on. But that's when the undercurrent of spirituality really started to creep its way in. Another member of the class that we took, Shelly, she was a really big push in the beginning. She was one of the first people to hand me a crystal and be like, you're a psycho, like you're stressing me out, here, go take this. Like and we still keep up to this day, and so that was where it really started to the pieces started to click. Like some of the religious trauma stuff started to work its way through to figure out that like it needed to be addressed so we could move it on and make the lack of like faith or whatever that I was missing from that into something better, into all of this.
Right, right. The magical closet.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. This is
Okay.
the magical
So
closet.
everybody. Okay. So we're getting back into the time travel tube. And now we are moving from February of 2012 up to March of 2018, which is when our class started. That was the month our class, the tarot class, started, March 2018. It feels like 4 or 5 lifetimes just from that 2012 to right there. So again, you guys open up to where you were. Of course, I want to hear how the spiritual progression, or of course, because that's when it started with the four of us, well, 12 together. But Adreyauna, can you talk about that March 2018 vibration? Where were you? And a little synopsis.
Yeah. Oh, my life was completely different. I had been in New Orleans for a little over a year at that time. And had also, that was the first time where I had stopped therapy and started using like spiritual practices and routines to sustain my mental and emotional well-being, which then led me to tarot. And I was coming out of like a toxic mind space. I was very angry. I was raging. I was drinking to solve my issues. And so literally y'all met me as I was coming out of that moment. So yeah, that's where I was.
Wow, no idea. Wow. Uh, Reverend Raven, March 2018. Where are you now?
Okay, so I had decided to uproot my life and move to New Orleans because I always had loved the city and I wanted to live somewhere more spiritual. And so just picked up with my husband and we moved to Algiers. That's where we were staying. I sent out probably over 100 resumes for jobs, and the one place that offered me a job just happened to be the place that Anna-Lisa worked at. And by that point, I had started as a receptionist, and they realized with my experience working with animals, moved me into a technician role. And I started doing laser therapy on dogs and got to do rehabilitation work with animals as well. So that's when I started learning about doing rehab with animals and doing energy healing with that as well, combining energy healing with the laser therapy. Duh, it's I'm literally shooting energy into the pets. So that was the job that I was doing then at that point in time, and was feeling, again, that connection of my purpose with my spirituality. And I'm not really sure where I'm going, but I know that this has a part of it. And I became friends with Anna-Lisa because I was walking around and realized that she was working in a lab, which I am a total nerd. And I was like, oh, tell me about the lab. What are you doing here? Train me. But also that she had crystals on her desk. So I saw that she had rocks and I said, hey, I like rocks too. We should be friends.
She's like, I got a van and some rocks. You want to come inside, little girl?
Yep.
I got some shiny things. Come on.
I had a
In the
blue,
van.
yep, a blue minivan and a lot of rocks.
Yes.
I
So
am not mad. Yes.
yeah, then I talked Annalisa into coming to the class because I had been just kind of watching what was going on at Earth Odyssey and wanting to connect with other spiritual people in the community.
And that's what I remember Becky as. She was this force, and everybody was like, I'm sorry, Reverend Raven. That Reverend Raven was. And I was like, who is this person? She's got this huge energy. Don't you know who Reverend Raven? Don't you? I'm like, I haven't met this person, but you hustled like one or two people to the class. And so when I first got my vibe of you, I was like, well, Reverend Raven she's the, the hookup, she's like the come here, come, I got your people. It's been awesome. I love it because when you first started talking, I felt like a nervous energy, and it was from the classroom. It wasn't from right now, it was from the classroom. And that nerves that you all probably had, but more so Reverend Raven, that I felt, and sometimes I think that turn in our belly that's trying to talk us into backing out is actually I got a crystal in the van. You want to come look? Like that's the little gas. Let's go. I'm just crazy about you, Reverend Raven, and the growth that you have made. It's just been amazing. Not that the other two of you aren't special. Like I'm nuzzling your necks. I love y'all. But Anna-Lisa, yeah, get back on topic. So Anna-Lisa, March 2018. You're
March
a ball of joy.
2018. Oh my God. March 2018 was, let's see. I met my now husband in that would have been 2016. So 2018, I feel like was one of the years that I really started to grow up. The frat house was no more. I had bought a house and did a bunch of adult things, met my husband. We were, well on our way to probably knowing that we were getting married. I was really kind of rising through the ranks at the veterinary hospital that Becky and I were working at. There was like this kind of really like distinct hierarchy, and I had reached this really like top level, and it was time to move on. So I had moved on to somewhere else. And it was, if ever there was a way to get shy little me out of my little shell, it's a van full of crystals and someone wonderful and warm like Becky. And she just was like, hey, let's do this tarot class because she knew I was interested, and it was kind of the same thing, a yearning to make that community of friends bigger. Shelly, and maybe that's it, were really my only like people that I could really talk to about it. Um, and yeah, and it was just kind of looking for a space to spread these kind of newfound wings that I had this, kind of taboo calling. Because, as I've talked about many times, grew up baptized Catholic. So like, oh, tarot, like, oh my God, clutch my pearls. So there was also this like small rebellious quality to it that I was like, suck it, family, like I'm gonna do my own thing. And I got just so much more out of it. Because like you said, I'm sure we would have all met eventually, but I like to think that this would have never happened if that class had never started. And then I ended up working at Earth Odyssey with you, and that kind of really, boom, banged the doors really open, and here we
are. So talk about boom, banging the door. We are time traveling again from that very first tarot class to you guys have your headsets on, the microphones, and you're about to record your first podcast. Boom! How the fuck did that happen? Like, what the hell? You're a talking head song. How did I get here? Like, really? Look at the moves you guys made in the game of life. Just these 3 points. Oh my God, I love this. So you guys are at your podcast recording. Okay. Adreyauna, ooh, time travel, boom. I mean, we're talking into prosperity. I mean, how many things happened after that class? Snowball. Where were you?
Literally everything happened. Everything happened. Oh my gosh. The first podcast was like the first big step.
Was that recorded in January of 2022 or February of 2022? Because your first episode was
Release.
2/22/2022.
Yeah,
Hold on, I can look. This is my
Look at, we don't need Google. We got fact check right here.
exactly.
This is the podcast notebook. Okay, we were brainstorming. Oh wait, no, hold, we're too far. Oh, that was Lori. Yes, 123 of 22. We recorded the first episode.
Mm.
Oh,
So
duh. 1, 2,
January.
3. Of course, it was 1, 2, 3.
Of course it
Ah.
was.
Of course it was.
Magic. Little bits, magic. So Adriana, boom, where are you?
Yeah, I at that point was in Tennessee. Yes. Wait. Yes. I don't know.
Time
I was
travel,
somewhere.
right?
I'm almost positive. Yes, I was in Tennessee at that point. Had moved out of New Orleans. So sad. Was very homesick for New Orleans at that point. So doing the podcast was also like being able to be back connected to the city. It felt like the boldest move. Although like I started a business, was doing my own like spiritual work, that just felt natural. Whereas the podcast was a new, nobody's done this before around me kind of, you're about to put your voice out there type of work. So it felt really bold. And I was nervous and I was trying to be all like, let me be perfect and make sure I say the right thing. And now I'm just like, I don't give a shit. Here I am. But yeah, at that time, I think I was also going through just exhaustion as well. And so I was learning how to separate myself from being so involved with people and the magic. And so I was a little removed, and that felt good, but also, yeah, I can see how it informed the magic. Um, so yeah, that's where I was.
Wow. You were learning boundaries, energetic boundaries. The I got to save the world and I got to do it right now and take everybody to bed with me. You were there?
I
Yeah,
was
I
there.
feel that. I totally feel that. I get that. Good for you for getting the boundaries. Bravo. Reverend Raven, Jute first podcast. You got the things on. Where you at?
Okay, funny enough, I was actually at a friend's house because we spent the weekend celebrating Imbolc. I had become a part of a big spiritual community. I wouldn't say big, but very big to me. And I was leading ritual that the night before. And so I spent the night at my friend's house and I went upstairs and recorded the pod there right where we had done ritual. I still had makeup on my face from ritual and it was still just buzzing from it all. It was pretty cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, and I
Very
remember
cool.
super nervous and I was very conscientious of my voice because I didn't like the way that my voice sounded. So that always made me nervous to hear my voice on the microphone and recording.
I mean, it fucks with all of us. I still hear my voice and go, that's my human. But now I know to pat her and be like, oh, she's so cute. Isn't that's a trip, right? The first time you hear your voice, you're like, fuck,
Yeah, I
that's
was
me.
like, what? And I hated it because I had done actually public speaking competitions and things like that where I had heard my voice amplified and I knew I hated it. That was the worst part. In my mind, I knew I hated the sound of my voice. So to get on the podcast and record, I was like, no, I'm gonna hate it. And I learned to love it.
That was that was her 8 of Swords. Let's do a quick tarot lesson. That was her 8 of Swords. She recorded, I suck at this. This is terrible. And now she's like, nah, it's easy. Picks her teeth with the 8 swords. Yes, very nice. The pick in the teeth, yes. Miss Anna-Lisa, the first podcast, you're ready to go. I mean, I listened to the episode that I thought was the first episode because of how it's listed on Spotify. But I listened to the episode of Coming Out of the Broom Closet, and you literally sounded like you were in a box, like a cardboard box, and like no one can hear me. I'm just doing my, like someone's coming. You were so cute, and so talk to me about where were you on that first podcast?
That is such an apt description because that's exactly how I felt. So this is the closet. It has gone through a couple of different evolutions. And so like just thinking of the structure of fate, I was facing like so the back wall is right here. I was facing the wall, the door was shut. I think I had so it's my closet that's in my bathroom. So I think my closet door was shut, the bathroom door was shut, the bedroom door was shut. Like it was absolutely me just
There was a
trapped in this
mattress pressed up
little.
against the door. There was farm
Yes,
dogs all around. I
yes,
built a
yes.
boat.
I had like my full like NPR voice on. Like, yes, I am Anna-Lisa, and I think I might maybe be some type of witch. Yes. And same thing like Adreyauna and Rev, it's evolved into this thing that it's now no big deal to the point that like, 30 minutes ago when we started recording this video, this is a new thing that like, it was weird to sit here in the same spot and feel the belly flies and really be nervous about how the conversation's going to go and are we going to be able to talk about anything, are we going to fill the space. There was all of these anxiety things, but the whole reason I really wanted to push myself to do this was a whole throat exercise of using the voice and putting it out there and wanting to make more magical friends. Like that's really the whole basis of this is stuff that fascinates me. I mean, like, look at this shit. Like this is actually my whole life. Like it's not just a vibe or an aesthetic. Like I really, it's true. And I appreciate that trueness in other people. Like it's so easy to talk to you guys about stuff like this because it's also who you are. And so it's really fascinating to think about that little girl. She had picked up her whole life and left a career and moved, 50 miles away and changed everything. And then this happened. And then we get to do this. Like
Crazy. So I do want to share with you guys, because I did take some notes about that coming out of the broom closet episode. It's so funny because for Anna-Lisa, I wrote for you, Anna-Lisa started with a bad attitude and a rock.
Bing, check, yes.
Okay, so I got plus 10 points for that. Adreyauna, you started with a dream and curiosity.
That's it. Yep.
A recurring dream and a bunch of fucking questions.
Always the questions. I still have those questions.
Always. I know. Look, you're with the right person. Yes, I get it. I really do get all those questions. And Reverend Raven, you started with a farm and college pagans.
Yep. I am back on a farm. Hopefully, we'll be living back on the farm again soon, and am looking for new community. I'm really excited because I found that there are 2 pagan-y shops in the big town closest to me.
Wonderful.
So I'm excited to go meet the people and find new community.
Very nice. Okay, so as we get back into our time traveling, because that was the very first podcast, was in January of 2022, and here we are, February of 2024. And when we rewind to where we first started this time travel, it was 12 years ago. We started February of 2012. That was 12 years that we just reviewed in like a little ping pong type of way. So give me the synopsis of today. I have questions about today. And now that you guys have talked through this 12-year journey together and what you're doing at this 4th season of your work, your destiny, your calling, none of this was by accident. It was all a divine plan for all of us to interact and plant the seeds and open stuff and show each other so that we can now, we're at this point, like right now in our journeys together. And so, Miss Adreyauna, can you start with, your hopes of this 4th season and your personal spiritual feelings about 2024?
Oh, my hopes for season 4 is for us to continue to be bold and daring and to test the waters with new topics, get even more vulnerable, and just to be closer with each other as well. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that's it. I wanted to say more, but Spirit was just like, no, that's it. 2024, my God, 2024 feels like everything. It feels like there's going to be, of course, like wins and loss and upset and excitement, but it feels like an opportunity, an opening for an opportunity. That feels better. It's like this chance for us to erase and make things blank again so we can kind of dream a new dream, if you will. And so it feels very creative and playful in that, but can also feel scary because like what there's nothing here. What am I supposed to do? Where's the vision? Where's the things? But that's up to us. That's up to you. That's up to me. So that's how 2024 feels.
Very nice. Reverend Raven, you encapsulated now. What's the story?
Oh, rewriting the story. echoing what Adriana said about the chance to erase some of the things from the past, but by erasing that, I don't mean in like pretend like it never happened, but be able to move forward from the things that we consider mistakes or drawbacks from our past that maybe in the past held us back. Like that we anchored ourselves to our past mistakes and decisions and things like that. And I feel like currently my worldview and my spirituality that I have a chance to move forward. That whatever my purpose is and whatever I'm going to do, I am going to be able to do that. I feel hope. And I feel that we will be given the resources that we need to fulfill this dream. It might not be exactly how we are thinking that it's going to look like, but we are going to be handed the things that we need to fulfill our purpose. And our spiritual purposes are to help the world around us. There has been so much negativity and darkness and things like that, especially over the last few years, but that is not going to hold us back from making the future better. That we have the opportunity to be those changes.
I got a cough on that one. Yes. Truth. Yes. Mm. Again, I feel like, of course I'm a human mom already. I have 5 human spawn, but listening to and looking at the 3 of you and how your energies have changed and how you communicate now, especially about something that is so sacred, like our belief in what you really feel. Again, I'm just so honored to be here to see this growth, to be a part of this story, to see how you guys have evolved. It gives me hope, because it's hard sometimes. Sometimes I want to hit the flush on the toilet and be like, this is bullshit. Like, no one is getting it. I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. But I'm so glad you said the word hope. And again, you're human being a Leo. So often, Leo is so full of fire that they forget to acknowledge with such gratitude the way you do it now, the way you talk. So I can see the change of the words you use and how you project it. And it makes me tingle, because I know the growth that had to go through to get here. And I'm so proud of you, Reverend Raven and Adriana. Miss Anna-Lisa, please talk to us about your 2024, your hopes for the podcast this year, and any personal spiritual things you want to share. You're on mute, baby.
Thank you very much.
Welcome
This
to the
is real life,
stage.
like we always say here, people. This is real life. So I pulled a card earlier, and it was this lovely little adventure card. So look how cool that is. It's like a whole like door portal into this like fairy world, and like I'm not going to give too much detail, but this picture specifically has so much to do with a personal project that I'm working on that I'll disclose more when we're not recording here. I'm not ready to talk about that yet, but that is, I like that for 2024. And for the podcast, I hadn't really thought, like, we've obviously given thought to where season 4 is going to go, but I guess like an overall theme I hadn't really thought of. And I like adventure. Like, isn't that part of this whole bag? Is that like we're on this whole new ride, we're on this whole new adventure. We get to, commune with each other. We get to talk to all of these people that probably wouldn't really connect with otherwise. Like, it gives us an excuse to pull strangers in like a totally legit way. Like, hey, we just want you to talk about what magic you bring to the table. Like, how is it different? Because the thing that I really, thinking back to the coming out of the broom closet episode, there's been this honing in of distilling for yourself what the masses have to offer has been where I'm at. That it's been, I've really voiced about the struggle of like a path or like a title or like a whatever. And I've never more solidly fallen on who I am in my magical practices. And that is that she changes all the time. She changes all the time. There's a bunch of different, deities and whatever you got up here. Like, and it's about, ooh, my ears are ringing. It's about taking that and dripping it down into what works for you. And that's the message, the adventure that I want to go on with this podcast. As far as personally, it's about being present. Like I really love that you nail on the head a bad attitude in a rock, because that is who I was for an exceptional amount of time. I was a bad attitude holding a rock, and some of my muggle coworkers, they make fun of me for my rocks that I carry, but like instead of getting defensive now, they're like, "Oh, what rock is she carrying today?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, I've got this one, and I've got this one, and this one," and I'm kind of like, boop, 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 and go on my way. So like to be present in who I am and where my magic's at in life in general has been the 2024 bag personally.
Wonderful. That sounds spectacular. One thing that I have noticed of giving readings to people about what 2024 is about, it's about action. I've heard it come out of my mouth so many times that 2024 is not the year for making a file folder or researching a trip or thinking about something or Googling or buying a book about. This is the year to actually make it happen. The numerology of the year is an 8, which is very boomerang, which is very, that's why I'm so glad that we all got in that time travel capsule together, because as we move into such heavy Aquarius energy right now, that's what Aquarius is. It's very time travel. It's very zip, zap, zoop. You're there, you're there, you're there. Like, so it's so cool to be able to do that with you and know that, this year is probably going to go so fast for all of us. We'll be at this table a year from now going, wow, you remember talking about 2024? It was just crazy. So do either any of you have any questions for each other? Any mirroring, any work? Because we all told these stories together. Anything you would like to reflect personally to each other?
I have a question for Anna-Lisa. I want to know where you are going with your animal magic and how you are going to make that your calling.
Look at the smile on her face.
It makes me make this face because recently with a very good friend of mine, I was having a conversation that maybe it didn't make a difference anymore. Okay. I used to do a lot, and I don't do, like, as far as my job goes, I did way too much and I saw too much and did too much and stretched too thin. And now I've gone completely other end of the scale, that not that the work's not important, but the work is significantly different. And I feel less needed. So there has been question of whether it's time to move on to something else, and so for a while, maybe the animals didn't justify it. But recently we have come back around to, I'm talking to them a little bit differently again, and there's been a couple of moments. So Becky, you'll appreciate this. I recently had an appointment with a rather sketchy 9-month-old German Shepherd puppy who's never met anyone before, no strangers, no anything. And there was this one, I've told this story before about this one bad dog that Becky and I would work with often. Ledger. He was this red Doberman who had a past. And so there were these moments of connection with where Becky and I would work with him, where I knew that the way that we were working with him was different than the rest of the people that we worked with. There was an obvious different communication going on with the dog, that you can't replicate with many other people. And there's this unspoken trust between the person you're working with and then with the animal you're working with. And one of the people that I work with now, I got to experience that again. And so it was very fascinating. So I don't know the answer to that yet, except that was a very long-winded way to say I'm coming back around to realizing it's more important than I thought.
Yep.
Full circle. She's circling back. Right on.
She's circling back, as always.
I was thinking about that today and how you have wrestled with the spirituality of working with animals professionally. I was thinking about where your heart was and wondering if you felt
Yeah.
like to leave.
It's hard. It's hard. The people that I work with now are wonderful, but they don't understand the woo-woo side of it. They don't see that this one person sees that I connect with them differently than most people. So it gets a little discouraging. It gets a little discouraging. You start to like kind of talk yourself out of believing that it's legit, that like maybe you do have this different connection with the animals, but I do. I do, and it's important work to be done. So we'll keep bugging me about it. I'll figure it out.
I only bug you about it because I know it's heavy on your heart.
It is. It is. And this is why we keep people like you around, because you can see through it. You can see through it. And I'm grateful for that. That's what I was going to voice, was when Michelle said that. What is the gratitude I have for all of you, for all of you. Y'all have helped change who I am. I'm no longer a bad attitude in a rock. I'm a good attitude in a rock.
I mean, that bad attitude in Iraq is still here. It's just integrated and loved. So we now have this. Do any of you have any other questions for each other? Because now is a good time to ask.
I have a question for you, Michelle. And now it's
Me?
gone. I guess I was not supposed to ask it because I had it and now it's gone.
Isn't that funny how that happens? Look at my spirit clapping back. Well, this is not about me.
This
This is
is not
about
about
y'all.
Michelle. Okay.
Everything's about me, baby. You know. uh, are you guys all done interviewing each other for the moment?
For the moment.
Okay, great. Well, I don't know if we were hoping to do more. That is where my prep ended. The thing that I wanted to see and have us walk through. I had nothing else planned unless we wanted to bullshit about something else. Yes, side note, way off topic. As I was going through your guys' playlist on Spotify, I love how everything was marked explicit. I was just like, yes, we curse. I love it.
We do. The fuck word is so safe here.
It made me so happy. Cursing. I just don't trust people that don't say a curse word. Like, what are y'all hiding from me?
If that's not the truth. But I do, so I don't have a question for you, Michelle, but I was thinking about this earlier. Okay, so do y'all remember the very first class that we had with Michelle? She pulled a card for each of us. Do y'all remember what card that was? By any chance? Because I remember vividly.
Not at all. Tell me about yours.
I was the Four of Pentacles because I was wound up tight, like just real tight, keep it on pretty much everything. Especially in that, and that was the deck. I was hoping you were gonna bust her out. Yes.
Because this is what I was going to do is pull us a card. So yes, go ahead, keep talking, Anna-Lisa.
No,
You
Yeah.
that's what I want to know. I'm curious to see what the difference is. So Four of Pentacles then, but now she would be what would
crazy. Talk about like a crazy change in story. So the Four of Pentacles used to be called a control freak,
Mm.
the tight ass, real wound up tight, control freak. 5 years, 10 days. I know what's going on. what's cool is their story, where the Four of Pentacles is now. We realize that humans aren't born control freaks. No judgment to their family or their story, but if we rewind that control freak to childhood, there's something in their environment that is unstable, it's not safe. So that human, in order to survive that situation, that energy, remember, when we're children, we're very psychic. We know what's going down, even if they don't talk about it. So in order to survive, that control freak starts to plan everything. When that happens, that's going to happen. And so I need to do this. But that didn't happen, so that must mean this. And then their imagination goes cuckoo, and they start hyper controlling everything to survive that situations. And then because our family didn't talk about it, we took it into our relationships, our partners, our friends, and we started filling in blanks and assuming something was going on. And so now, because of 2020 and everything that happened when Pluto and Saturn met in Capricorn, what happened with all that change and that power moment, we've realized that situation. So that control freak is now recovered and aware of that storyline and has put love juice on all those people and all those things that cause that instability. It almost got into a place of gratitude. And that's why Pluto and Saturn changing, and Saturn being smoking a big joint in Pisces right now, and Pluto moving into Aquarius. Now we can do things differently. Now, we can address things differently. We can talk about toxicity and traumas and help each other so that we're all not wound so tight. So that Four of Pentacles has such a huge story and such a recovery. And Anna-Lisa, you just got the Ace of Swords, which is so interesting because the Ace of Swords is the serenity prayer, which is what you learn in recovery from codependency, trauma. It's, grant me serenity to accept the things I cannot change. I have it up here right behind me. So that is what you have now. You went from the Four of Pentacles to the Ace of Swords. You are this declaration of truth. You have your own vocabulary, your own way of talking to people, your own authentic voice. You mentioned something about a throat chakra exercise being that first podcast. This is our throat chakra, cleaned up, centered, ready to go. It's clarity, aha, an epiphany. So congrats. Is she frozen or just happy? Oh, there you
A mix of both. A mix of both. My internet is being a little foolish right now, but that feels like winning psychic class. Like, yes, all right, I'll take it.
Wonderful. Do you happen to remember the other two cards that they got?
I do not. I do not. But I'm more interested to see where they're at now.
Okay, so I was just going to talk to Adreyauna, and this big chunk fell out of the deck where we got the Hierophant. And this is the Everyday Witch deck by Deborah Blake. The Hierophant, the teacher, God, the healer of the inner child wounds, a guide, a light to other inner children of others, someone who is centered their shit, grounds things, a earthy person. Oh, you also got the Queen of Cups, the taking our great grandmas who used to sacrifice their whole story to take care of children and obligations and responsibilities, and no one really ever asked them what they wanted to do or what they needed. And again, because we've all been on this spiritual journey, this is now aware that it needs to fill its cup first. It has to give itself the same unconditional love that it's willing to give everybody else. Otherwise, that love is unconditional, but it has toxins and bitterness because we just got done cleaning a lot of this since 2012. So you now have this Queen, crazy, the Lover's card. This was also part of your message. I always say the story that people are always like, oh, partner. And that's all lovely. But this is about you loving Adriana. When you take off your clothes, yes, Reverend Raven with the lover's card that we talked about. Adriana got this lover's card, this being your own best friend, your own best Friday night, your own best lover, your own best support system. That way, when you put your love on other people, again, it's authentic, it's real. There's no any kind of toxicity in there. You also got the Seven of Cups, babe, which means there are way more options out there than you think there are. And the problem is your thinking. Get back to Saturday. You don't have to go to school today, baby. What do you want to do? And then last, this is the kicker. This is what cracks me up. No, the other shoe isn't about to fall. No, we're not about to go sideways, baby. That was before. Nope, no one is about to tell you, you were wrong. No, none of that shit's going to happen. Again, tell your little mind, oh, you're so cute. But no, this shit going wrong was actually the best thing that ever happened to you. So don't let it fuck with you.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's just like, yeah, that's about it. If I had to just roll through my journal topics and things I've written down, yeah, that's it.
And it came out like a chapter. Like it just went in my lap. Adriana, like I told you in class, magic is real. Isn't that crazy? This shit's real.
It's very real. I probably say that multiple times a day because I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna, like you said, I'm just gonna stop thinking and
And
just
it comes
accept.
across so nice now. It's just like, it's such a nice message. It's no longer edgy and it's so much love. And Reverend Raven, are you down for a card? Do you happen to remember that first class, the card that you got?
I don't. I'm not sure where my journal is from class either with the 3 moves since then.
You got the star card. As above, so below. As within, so without. So it is. So mote it be. This is also another prayer that other humans say of on earth as it is in heaven. And I love the story of, well, where's heaven? Well, when Reverend Raven sits down and closes her eyes for 20 minutes, that's heaven. Whatever you feel, that's heaven. And most humans don't like to go there because there's so many noise, there's so much distraction. But that practice of going to heaven, getting there, dealing with that shit, because it doesn't just go away. You have to deal with all the demons and the happy people and the pissed off parts and all of that stuff. And this shows the on earth because once that gets clarified and when you close your eyes, it's not such a big deal anymore. You're actually feeling at home. When you open your eyes, because of Aquarius and the law of attraction, you will start to see what is in heaven. So that is you, Reverend Raven. You are a giver of all the lovely things that you see and feel inside of your human's body and all the places that you go to and visit and love because you're Leo and that's love and courage and strength and all that wonderful stuff. So that is for you.
I feel that so much because it's been such an uncertain year. And I feel like I had no idea where I was going to be going, like what I was going to be doing for a profession or, where I was going to be living or any of that. And once I had to wait until I was at peace in myself and who I was before I would be blessed with the opportunities that I've been given. And every day I am blessed. Every day that I go to work, I feel so blessed.
And my work here is done. and I can moonwalk the fuck out of here. Peace. I dropped the mic. Boom. You're welcome, humanity. Yes, I would do it again. Yes.
Over and over and over again, over and over again.
Right.
Mm.
Well, you guys, I've had a real blast doing this with you, and I hope the three of you have had a nice voyage down that time tube. I suggest that when we're done here, we're going to need to go drink some water, do your decompressions, do your little sages and such, because we really did just time travel. And be aware that the people who do listen, they get to go with us and express their stories while they're time traveling with us. And so I love that, for everyone to see how far they've come, how much has happened in these short 12 years. And so what's the 12 years from now? 2036?
Mm-hmm.
2036 is 12 years from now.
I can't. I'm barely registered in 2024.
No, for real.
Wow.
Crazy, right? Savor it all. All right, you all. That's all I have for tonight. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode of Aspirations.
Ready? And stay magical.
Stay magical.
Peace. Love you guys.
Bye.
That's a wrap.